Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl. Does it have the greatest and most perfect opening scene to a movie of all time? Ahoy, ladies and gents, and welcome to another Too True SMEG review, where I embark on a never-ending quest to find the greatest opening scenes in movies, TV shows, and video games. In one of my previous videos, a fan commented that Pirates of the Caribbean is their favorite opening of all time. So today, we're setting sail into the high seas with the opening scene of Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl. In the year 2025, when Pirates of the Caribbean comes up in conversations, we typically think of a washed-up franchise that lost its creativity years ago and produced more ridiculously stupid humor with each movie. However, when we go back to the year 2003, we were rewarded with one of the most original and groundbreaking pieces of film in history with Curse of the Black Pearl. With a cast of mostly rising stars or forgotten actors, this movie had the perfect recipe for a masterpiece and is now one of the most iconic movies of all time. While we could talk all day about this movie as a whole, that is not the purpose of this review. Our purpose is to review the opening scene and to conclude whether or not the intro is one of the greatest we've ever seen, or whether it falls short. As usual, to help with this review, we will be looking at 3 different categories, and those categories are the music or sound, the storytelling, and how captivating as a whole the intro is. We will give each of these categories a score out of 10, then adding all these scores up to get a final average score. And if there's something extra special about the opening scene that doesn't fit quite well into any of the categories, but does help to elevate it in some way, then we will be awarding bonus points as well. So sit back, relax, and enjoy another Too True SMEG review. Now before we dive into the details, we're going to approach this review a little differently than usual. In this intro, the music and storytelling are so intricately woven together that it's impossible to discuss one without the other. Rather than separating them into distinct sections, we'll analyze how they work in tandem to create an unforgettable opening. Each will still receive its own score, but they will be explored as a cohesive unit. One thing that is undeniable about the music in this opening scene, and frankly the movie as a whole, is that Curse of the Black Pearl understands the weight that sound design carries in storytelling. We begin with a haunting, atmospheric score, low strings, eerie choral undertones, and the ever-present sound of the ocean, setting an ominous tone of mystery rather than mere adventure. There's an almost gothic novel quality to it, as if the sea itself is holding secrets older than the ships that dare to cross it. As this tone is being set, we hear the young Elizabeth Swann sing A Pirate's Life for Me, but not the cheery and upbeat version we've heard on the Disneyland ride. It's a darker, quieter, and more twisted version which continues to set a mysterious and cautious tone. Now, what does this haunting musical design do for us as an audience? Well, it subtly tells us that pirates in this world are not just the swashbuckling and go-lucky rogues from storybooks, but are something far more formidable and outright dangerous. As we're feeling on edge, we clearly see that Elizabeth is also feeling on edge, even though she seems to be putting on a brave face, because of the jump and gasp she lets out as Mr. Gibbs warns her not to be singing about pirates, lest they come across pirates themselves. As Lieutenant Norrington describes to the young Elizabeth not to worry and shares the terrible fate of any pirates he comes across, we're given some good foundational background of the story and world we have been thrown into. Elizabeth's comments about pirates hints to us that she's atypically curious about the taboo things in her world, and her thievery, some might say piracy, and secret keeping of the young Will Turner being a pirate himself later on, shows us she's not against breaking the rules to do the right thing. Now, let's take a moment to talk briefly about the sound design here as well, because it also does a wonderful job of layering this growing tension. We hear the creaking of the ship, the hush of the waves, and the odd silence on deck, subtly telling us that we should be on edge as an audience, because the entire crew is clearly on edge as well. As we feel this mysterious tension slowly growing with the music and soundscapes, as well as the umbrella washing up, followed by the young Will Turner, the music escalates and crescendos until we finally see a ship bursting in flames, telling us that we were right to be wary this entire time. While the crew is trying to rationalize a perfectly good reason as to why the ship is up in flames, they are truly denying what they all fear to be true, which is that pirates are the cause of this wreckage and death. While the crew goes to check for survivors, Elizabeth sees beyond the fog the ghost-like ship appearing just for a moment, fleeing the scene. Elizabeth closes her eyes and wakes up as an adult, showing us that this memory of hers and of the Black Pearl showing herself to Elizabeth for just a brief moment haunts her these many years later. Again, telling us as an audience that these pirates are nothing to laugh about and have almost a paranormal-like quality about them. As you can see, the music here goes hand in hand with the storytelling in creating a creepy and eerie atmosphere and telling us a story about the lethality and mystery of pirates. For these reasons, the score we will be giving both music and sound and the storytelling will be a perfect 10 out of 10. Now it's time to look at how captivating as a whole the intro is. The first few minutes of any film have a singular job: make the audience commit. This opening succeeds because it doesn't rush and trusts us as an audience enough to build intrigue rather than force excitement. Visually, the cinematography is stunning. The muted tones of the mist and the ocean emphasize the isolation of their voyage. The visual of Elizabeth standing at the ship's edge, peering into the mist, is great imagery of innocence staring into the abyss of the dangerous and unknown. Narratively, this opening scene is a slow burn but an effective one. There's no immediate sword fight or grand spectacle to grab our attention, rather we're drawn in by the promise of something lurking out on the ocean. The ghost-like story tension is far more captivating than any immediate action sequence could have been. It's captivating in a way that rewards patience. The film could have easily thrown Jack Sparrow, the star of the film, into the mix right away, but instead, the intro makes us earn his arrival by setting up the world first with the haunting-like vibes we're given. Doing this makes all the difference in captivating us more meaningfully because we as an audience remember how we felt during this opening scene, instead of relying solely on what we saw. And in my opinion, it's what we feel from a movie that we remember in the long run rather than what we see in a movie. So for all of these reasons, we'll be giving a perfect 10 out of 10 for being a wonderfully captivating opening scene. So, is this the first movie intro to receive a perfect 10 out of 10 score? Well, not quite, because for the first time ever, we're introducing a penalty point. Now, why penalize perfection? Because for all its brilliance, there's one tiny moment that has always been a little questionable. Remember when young Will Turner dramatically wakes up, gasps for air, and then immediately passes out again? Almost like he's fulfilling some contractual obligation to briefly regain consciousness before succumbing to unconsciousness again? Yeah, that moment. Now, I get it. He's in shock, he's exhausted, he's probably not having a great day. But something about that moment has always felt oddly staged rather than natural. It's a nitpick for sure, but since this review series is dedicated to absolute perfection, we have to be fair. Thus, we are awarding a single penalty point, bringing the total score to 29 out of 30, which makes the final average score a 9.67 out of 10. The best score any intro has received up to this point, and a well-deserved one. Well, there you have it, folks, a full review of the opening scene to Pirates of the Caribbean: Curse of the Black Pearl. If you agreed with my review, please leave a like, and if you enjoyed this review and would like to see more content like this in the future, please consider subscribing as well. If you disagreed with my review and the score I gave, well, go ahead and leave a dislike or leave a comment where we may have missed the mark here or there. Anyways, thanks again for the support and for sticking around for another Too True SMEG review. Until next time.